Let's Achieve Change is a podcast by Pamela Grove, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Pain and Movement Specialist of Metanoia Education and Wellness Center. My goal is to make you aware of various health and wellness topics. Every 2 weeks, Let's Achieve Change will appear with episodes with various topics with interviews and narratives, especially as it pertains to health and wellness and chronic pain and disability. I propose to be the voice for those silent sufferers out there. If you'd like to learn more about Let's Achieve Change or Metanoia Education Wellness Center, please visit our website at changeachieve.com. Hello, thank you for joining me today on Let's Achieve Change. I'm Pamela Grove, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Pain and Movement Specialist of Metanoia Education and Wellness Center. Listen, if you want to make some changes, you have tuned into the right podcast. Now listen, don't forget to hit that notification button so that you can subscribe and you won't miss any future episodes on some changes you might want to make.
Welcome, everyone. Episode 8. Yes, we're continuing with the caregivers behind the patients. So today's guest will be Crystal. Crystal is now 19, and she shares her radical life-changing experiences that has occurred from the time that she was at her very young age of probably as young as 6 until presently caring for her mother. But before I bring on Crystal, I would like to educate you on some of the alarming statistics out there. As of 2019, it was estimated that 5.4 million children under 18 in this country was caring for someone who is considered to be their parent, providing things as like medications, helping with dressing and bathing, maybe doing physical transfers, doing housekeeping management, chores, helping with transportation in some senses, or helping with some type of medical appointment arrangements. And we're going to get into more details on how this can be devastating. Unfortunately, studies are reporting negative impact on these young caregivers. Some of the areas that we're seeing the negativity is, one, they're experiencing more anxiety, depression, and more stress than their peers. The second area would be we're seeing that they have lower grades, often missing schools, a lot of tension with their teachers, and getting along with their peers. Be experiencing more social isolation with their peers. So now that we've got a little bit more understanding of what kind of impact that can happen, we're going to bring on Crystal so Crystal can share her actual experiences.
Okay, so good afternoon. Today we have Crystal Upshaw with us, and Crystal is a young, very, very smart, talented young woman who is, I think how old are you, 19, Crystal? 19?
Yes, ma'am.
19. And so Crystal is going to be coming from another perspective because she's coming from the perspective as a daughter and a caregiver. And so I want her to, before we dive into the questions, I want her to first tell us a little bit about how old she was when she started to take care of her mom. Okay? Go ahead, Crystal.
I was about 6 years old when my mom got sick, and it didn't start really getting bad until around close to 7. So maybe at 7 years old, I started really realizing that my mom's really, really sick.
Wow.
And me and my older brother were 5 years apart. We started taking care of her. We moved in with my papa and uncle because she could no longer live by herself.
Right.
And so around age 7 is when I started taking care of her.
Okay. So when you say you realized at age 7 that she was really sick and you had to move in with your papa, what did that mean to you at that time? Like, what do you think was happening? Did you have any idea, or was you too young to really realize it?
It was so bad, not to be vulgar, but I thought she was gonna die.
No, I want you to express how you felt. I want you to express how you felt, baby.
She was extremely sad.
Mm-hmm.
She was sad. She was weak,
mm-hmm.
and I knew my mom before that, so it kind of messed with me a whole lot. And in my head, I was thinking from a kid's perspective that I wasn't going to have a mommy anymore.
Right.
I was kind of like preparing for that at that age. So.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the questions. One of the questions was, if you knew the person before they became disabled, how would you compare them to then versus now? And can you tell some of the differences, if how you remember your mom when you were at that age, and then some of the differences that you've seen as she became more ill? What did you know? What were the differences you've seen in her, maybe her personality, or what she was able to do, or what she did with you, or whatever? Can you talk to that?
Yes. Well, luckily I was blessed and cursed with extremely great memory. So I remember up to age 2.
Wow.
My mom never missed a recital.
Wow.
Never missed a basketball game for my brother at the time. Never missed anything. I was in gymnastics from age 1.5 to 3. I was in dance from age 3 to like 8. Never missed anything. She was so lively. She had all the energy in the world. She used to walk around the gym like 4 times a week.
Wow.
And we would be in the YMCA all the time. Very active family. Me and my brother were both very, very healthy. She was always smiling. She read to me. We had a routine. My mom woke up at 5 a.m. ever since I've known her.
Wow.
And she still does. But she used to go in the kitchen, and I would wake up with her and sit in her lap while she would pray with her friends. And she didn't get out of the bed anymore when she got sick because she couldn't. So she would still be up for those 5 a.m. prayer meetings, but it was no more meeting her in the kitchen. She couldn't always make it to my rehearsals. And she wasn't outside as much when she got sick. She started being deprived of that sunlight that she loved so much. She would still smile, but it would look forced just so that we wouldn't know how sad she really was. And just a sense of confusion. And I could tell she was confused on why this was all happening. And we were also confused. And so it felt like that light was kind of dimming.
Okay. Yeah.
When all of it first started happening.
So, did you know what she was diagnosed with at that age? Do you know what what was she diagnosed with?
She was diagnosed with lupus and arthritis, but I didn't know till recently that lupus was not a cancer. So I used to say that she had cancer. And so... Yeah. And at that age, I did know that people died from cancer.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So basically now she's, you're older and she is able to do some things, but can you speak to the fact that some of the things you then started becoming responsible to do? Because I know your brother is older and he finally started to move out the home. And so what were some of the things, some of the responsibilities that you had as you got older for her?
I learned how to cook really, really early on. So I would cook, and my mom's health was off and on. And so sometimes she didn't need me to do as much. But when it was bad, I would cook. I would help her put on her clothes, bras, underwear, help her into the bathtub. I've bathed her before. I could pick my mom all the way up to like age 8.
Wow.
So I've done that. I've carried her like all the way up, carried her from sofa to bed.
Wow.
All those things. I have stayed all night at hospitals.
So
taking her out from hospitals, all those things.
Yeah. So you've done a lot. You transported her to hospital. You've seen her up and downs. You're able to. You actually physically carried her, as you just expressed, which is crazy, and you were able to start cooking at such a young age. So I want you to tell me what, if you had to, because I know you're involved in her life still now. So we don't want to speak as if she's not there. So we know she's still alive and she's still doing things, and you're still part of that. So just from the time when you started with becoming responsible, with different things until now, what would you say was the hardest thing that you had to experience or struggle with caring for her? Can you give us a history?
Not being able to be around her at a time when I was very vulnerable. And I've always been a smart kid, but trauma messes a lot with different things. And so while my mom was sick, I went through a sexual assault situation.
I'm sorry to hear that. Wow.
It's okay. It's okay. For a couple years. And I didn't know how to communicate that.
Okay.
Because I felt like I kind of couldn't communicate it because I was like, oh, well, we kind of like need these people. And just to make it something like very, very clear, not my papa, uncle, or aunt that we were actually staying with. Just wanted to make that clear.
Yes.
Yeah, I went through that. I had already lost my grandmother, both of them within a span of 2 years apart. One at 3 and one at 5, and then my mom got sick at 6, and so I was being like called from the school a lot because I wouldn't focus in class, and I went from being this kid that had like the best grades to like I wouldn't even do a word puzzle.
So let me not interrupt you, but I want to make sure that in the listeners, because you're telling such good information. So basically, I'm trying to sum up, but you tell me if I'm wrong, okay? So what I'm getting from you, that the hardest thing you experienced from your perspective is the emotional part of it, not being able to, like, you didn't feel as if you could even have her as a mom at that point. The roles were reversed, kind of thing.
Basically.
Okay. So we'll make sure we got that clear. Okay. So. Is there anything else you think that was just the emotional part was the biggest thing, or do you think the physical part of caring for her, was that hard for you at all, the physical part of it?
At that age, no. The physical part was kind of being taken care of by my brother because I couldn't handle too much of the physical at that age. But I would like help cook and stuff like that, like bring her food. But no, I wasn't lifting my mom at this age. I wasn't like helping her do too much.
So when did you become involved with the physical part of it about? How were you?
Around 8 years old. And I started doing smaller physical things. And then that's kind of got me into weightlifting. I am a weightlifter.
Wow.
Because,
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, heavy weightlifter.
Wow.
Because I never wanted it to be a case where I couldn't lift my mom and also where I couldn't fight for myself.
Okay.
So that's where like the strength thing comes in. I work out a lot.
So physically, you don't think you was any struggle at all, the physical part of it at all? No physical thing?
When I got older, yes. When I got older, it started being a physical requirement. I had to start, like I said, carrying her to and fro, but it wasn't never a problem necessarily.
Okay.
By that time, I was strong enough too.
Okay. And having the responsibility of cooking and all that was not a problem for you, you don't think?
It did become a problem once I started working. I would always be worried that she wasn't eating enough.
Okay.
And so I would start cooking and stuff, but I'd be drained and tired and have to cook for myself too. So it makes a lot of stuff my mom can't eat. And so that did become like a little bit of a struggle for a minute until I got the hang of it, and then she started being able to cook for herself a little more. But that would be about the only thing, emotional and
that learning that how to adapt to the diet and being able to that kind of stuff and juggle your schedule with her schedule and kind of worrying whether you were doing an adequate job of making sure that she was eating and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, that sounds. I got it. Okay, so had you ever had to be able to advocate for her? And if so, like what capacity that you had to advocate, or while you were advocating for her, were you ever surprised by any of the interactions that you got from people as you had to do this?
Not necessarily. Everyone kind of knew in my life that my mother was sick. And so things that I probably would have to advocate for her as far as like, let's say she needs to do a teacher-parent conference or anything like that. Oh, well, she can't come in. Anything like that, they would rearrange things so it could be over the phone or brought home instead. So no, I actually never had to do that. Everything was still handled through her.
Okay.
It just had to be handled through her at home.
Okay, I got you. And also from a medical standpoint, did you ever have to advocate for her from a medical standpoint?
No, never.
Okay. So you've been very blessed for that. You've been very blessed for that. So I'm glad to hear that because that's something that some people have to do and that's a hard thing to do. And I just want to make sure that you're aware of the fact that if you ever need to do that for her, don't be afraid to do that for her. That's very important. That's very important. If you had to, because you have a lot of experience with all this, this has been a lot of things. I'm so proud of you. I want to just say that over and over again, how you have been able to get through what you've gotten through at your age. But if you had to really share or leave something with anyone, what advice would you give to a caregiver for what you've learned? What would be some of the advice you would give?
I would tell them it's okay to be tired because for a long time, and it's okay to feel selfish at times that you don't want to anymore. Because for a long time, I used to really beat myself up when I would be tired. And it's also okay to miss who the person was before they got sick because I do and still do miss my mom before because I feel like a lot of people never got to see so much that I did. Like my mom, like we called it that girl. Like she was that girl. She still is. But, she handled us so well and taught us so much. Like my mom was teaching me her phone number at like 4.5, and I learned it by the time I was 5. Like it was so much. People always like, "Oh, you're so smart." I got it from my mom.
Right.
She raised us to be like that.
Yeah.
And me and my brother are really close because she raised us to be like that.
Wow.
So,
Wow. That's
it's
awesome.
a lot of things, that I would tell them.
Yeah.
But basically, it's okay to be tired.
Okay. Sounds good. I love that. Now, this might be a crazy question, but I'm asking everybody this question because I think it's good to think about it. Like, if you were to die today, which is, sounds morbid, but everybody has an epitaph. Epitaph is like something that kind of somebody heard that they would say, "Yeah, I mean, that sounds like Crystal." What would be yours? I'm gonna say my brother's was he's going on as well. Was my best friend. And his was grace and peace, dear ones, and it's just nice to be nice. Those were his. Now mine is crazy. It is what it is. That's mine. That's mine. Okay, but what would be yours? Something that you say, or something that reflects. That's Crystal. What would be yours?
My words would be nothing is ever for nothing.
Wow, I like that. Nothing is ever for nothing. I like that. Wow. Anything else you want to share or say before we go? You've shared a whole lot. Anything else you want to share or say?
I want people to know that my mother's sickness, it stopped a lot for me and my brother's life, but we have so many good memories because one thing I can say about her that is why she's the person I look up to the most is I've never seen my mom stop fighting to for us.
Wow.
Because I think at one point she stopped caring if she lived for her. But I've never been loved as hard as my mother loved me.
Wow, that's giving me chills.
Because she never gave up, ever. I used to get calls from the school because I'd be crying and stuff because I'd be worried that she wasn't going to make it. And like I said, I couldn't focus. So she would fight to get in the car to drive with my uncle to take me to school every morning, no matter what she had on. And just drained, but just so I could see her and know that, like, when I come home, she's going to be there.
Wow. Oh, my God.
I've seen her crawl. I've seen her cry because financially, when you get a certain age as a kid, you just want more. You just feel that everyone else is
Exactly.
And I've seen her cry because at the time, you just couldn't do it.
Right.
And we've seen each other broken and at times where no one else has. And I love my mom so much. And I couldn't have asked for a better mother. And she's done more for me than some parents have with full ability.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm forever grateful. I've never seen a light off. I've never been hungry. I've never seen so much. And so I'm very grateful because I know she sacrificed her life for me and my brother.
Oh, so. What a good, awesome testimony. I'm so glad I missed this with you today. You've been such a blessing. And I believe you're going to help many people with this testimony, okay? I thank you so much.
Okay, first thing, let's summarize a little bit. So I want to first thank Crystal for coming on. It took a lot for her to be that transparent. But not only was she transparent with her experiences, but I think she also shared a lot of wisdom, especially for her age, that we can often look at that situation and see how maybe it applies to your situation or others out there. I still want to say that I am hopeful that Crystal continues to experience some good things in her life to come. She was able to definitely share her warm expression of her deep love for her mother and her admiration for her mother, even though her mother went through drastic changes in her physical and emotional lifestyle. So despite some of the studies out there with all the negative impact, Crystal is one that, through all her negative experiences, still has shown some positive light. So I'm leaving that note out there to state that, those who are struggling, who may not have good experiences, to reach out, to find that type of support system. And there are many in this community, in your community. You just have to reach out for that. I'm so happy for what we've done today. I'm looking forward to the next week's episode that we continue more into these caregivers.
Thank you for tuning in today at Let's Achieve Change. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You will find out more about Metanoia Education and Wellness Center on our website at changeachieve.com. We welcome your questions and your feedback. Please feel free to fill out the form on the website and we will contact you directly. I pray that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Remember, it's all about the change. Thank you.